All right, let's do some yoga. So the requests for tonight's yoga class were hips, core, and some like upper back, upper body, and heart openers. So before we start, this is just for time, just make sure that you are comfortable. We're going to start. I'm not sure yet. You can be seated or lying down. That's up to you. So find a comfortable seat. And I didn't check my speaker before I started. Is my sound okay? Okay, thanks. I see a thumbs up. Awesome. All right, so find a comfortable seat. You can allow your eyes to close if that feels comfortable. And just find a neutral spine. Right? You can sit up nice and tall. Let the hands rest wherever they want to rest. And see if you can give yourself permission to show up exactly as you are. To be in this moment, even though it's private and just for you to notice, allowing yourself in this moment to be unapologetically yourself, whether that's looking at your spine and how it wants to land, where the hands land. If the mind brings you thoughts or ideas or plans, like just for now, let it all be okay. Listen to the sounds of the space that you're in. And maybe even appreciating that even that we're all in different spaces, we are in community. So just taking a moment to accept, this community that we're in, who share a yoga practice. And whatever it is, this community, the ground you're sitting on, Mother Nature, whatever it is, take a moment and allow yourself to just feel yourself supported. You are, in fact, supported by the ground you're on and the earth. But maybe metaphorically, notice what you are supported by. Before we started our class, we were talking about community and support. So take a few breaths into that idea of, the support systems that are just feel so good to you in your life. Let your breath slow down. Let your shoulders relax. And maybe sending a little gratitude out into the world for your support systems. And then start to turn your attention, when you feel ready, turn your attention towards your being, yourself, your physical body. Because within you, there are a lot of innate moments of support, of strength. It's metaphorical. Let your mind go to those places within yourself of strength. Keep that slow, deep breath going. And as you start to turn your attention a little deeper towards the breath, knowing that, here is your body's innate ability to take in what you need and let go of what you don't. Right? You draw in air, you let go of whatever it is you no longer need. Pretty powerful support system. And let your mind move through the muscles of your body. They get you to where you need to be. But let them have a little break, right? The ones that can take a break. Some of them are necessary right now. But keep that slow, deep breath and just notice the muscles, the structural integrity of your body. Notice the bones. Let your mind just keep getting deeper and deeper. And bring awareness to your belly. If it's helpful, you can place a hand or two there. And breathe deep into the belly. Feel it expand and contract. Let that breath get even deeper. Feel your heart expand. You can always place a hand on your heart if that feels comfortable. And as you continue turning your attention towards yourself, just notice, can I accept, can I acknowledge that this body that you are in is full of support and an innate ability to take care of you, to get done what you need to get done. So allow your mind and your intention to be on, nurturing and taking care of this supportive structure. Allowing yourself to take care of yourself. So take a few more slow, deep breaths. Let the mind just absorb into the details of sensation in the body. And with the next breath or two, really letting them merge even deeper. Then when you're ready, you can release your hands if they're still on your body. You can let your body just breathe itself and notice how you feel. Let's begin our practice. We'll do a little sun breath and then we'll do a couple ohms, but we'll get the arms going first. So as you inhale, let your arms sweep out to the sides and up overhead. And as you exhale, just really gently let your arms float down. So take your time, slow, deep breath in. And complete breath out. And let's change the pattern a little bit. So next time the hands come up overhead or to where they want to go, bring your palms together and exhale your hands straight down the midline. And do that a couple more times. Inhaling arms out. Exhaling them straight down the midlines, palms touching. The next time the hands are at your heart, just pause there. Mostly so we can synchronize, but also just taking a moment. Notice how you feel so far. And we'll do that 3 more times, but this time on the exhale, we'll add the sound of Om. So you can release your hands down. We'll inhale together and then we'll Om on the exhale. So inhaling, arms up. Ah. Go at your pace. Out. Last one. Out. Just pause with the hands at your heart. Take in the vibration of Om. Notice where you feel the echo of it throughout your body. Om, peace, peace, peace. You can bow your head to your heart and just honor your true self. Send a little thank you for rolling out your yoga mat today, for clicking on the Zoom link. Good. And from here, you can release your hands. You can blink your eyes open. You can lift your gaze. And let's see. If you're sitting on something, you can remove it. Whoa. And once you've done that, just stretch your legs out. Get them to be a little happier about life. Good. And actually, I wasn't sure before, but now I am. Let's start. How did I do this? Let's start from lying down. So once you're ready, you can find your way onto your back. And when you get there, just notice first how the back feels as it lands on the ground. And what you need. What I needed was to pull my knees in and rock side to side, but maybe you need something else. Like just find out what would feel good to you as you land on your back, and just start to get used to movement. Right? Start to get used to just letting your mind be in your body. And eventually, it might feel good to stretch your hands and feet up towards the sky and take a few rotations at the ankles and wrists. Let that slow, deep breath return. If you're circling at the feet and ankles, go the other way. Or that didn't make sense. Wrists and ankles. Good. And then let your arms and legs have a little shake. Right. And when you're ready, you can bring your limbs down and just take a moment. Notice how your body feels so far. Good. And take your left leg, if the back's okay with it. We'll do that little paintbrush move. So left leg is flat, right knee can come in, and start to circle the knee as if you had a paintbrush on it and you're painting the ceiling. Just little circles at first. And then they spiral and get a little bigger. And just notice how the hip feels. Notice what the muscles are up to. Let the lower leg be just along for the ride. It's super relaxed. It just goes where it goes. The upper leg, the thigh, the hip, right at the hip socket, that's what's doing the work, those muscles. And then go the other way. Good. And then gently bring the right knee in for a moment as you bend the left knee, and you're just going to make that number 4 shape. Just cross your right ankle over the left knee. The left foot can stay on the ground. It'll be like a pivot as you start to sway the legs side to side a little bit. And just deepen the breath. Just notice what you notice. If you need a little more, sometimes I like to use my hands. I just put the knee, let the hands be on the knee and the foot, and let the knees go side to side. And you can do that with the left knee bent or straight. So those are a couple options. Good. And when you're ready, you can release the right leg and just notice how one side feels compared to the other. Good. And you can flatten your right leg out on the yoga mat and start to rotate the left knee. So paint little circles at first and go really slow so you can really feel all the places that are tight, places that feel particularly good when you slow down. And then go the other way. Let the circles get as big as they need to get. Letting the lower leg just be along for the ride, super relaxed. Good. And then bring your knee in just for a moment. You can hold on to it, the left knee, and bend your right leg so the foot's on the ground, and then you could cross left ankle over right. Make that number 4 shape with the legs. And the right leg can be like a pivot or the foot, and your knees are going to sway side to side. If you're feeling pretty like this feels too easy, use your hands. Let the knee and foot be held by the hands, and then you can control the stretch a little more, but that's only if you need it. So keep breathing. Whenever you feel ready, you can release your legs and notice how you feel so far. Good. You can bend your knees so the feet are flat on the floor. And bring your arms out wide so you're in a T position. We'll do that twist that we usually end our class with, but whenever I do at the beginning, we do that rotation with the arms. So it's your preview. That's where we're headed. So arms out wide. Actually, before we do that, let the palms be face down. Press into your feet. So lift the hips just enough so that your rear end clears the floor. So really just above the ground. And you're going to sway your hips side to side like you're in a hammock. Or like your body was a hammock, right? So it's just going to sway side to side. It's kind of a little bit like you're dancing, I guess. And the next time the hips swing right, place them back down on the yoga mat. And then from here, it depends on how twisty you're feeling. You could just let your knees drop to the left, right? This is our first twist, so be nice to yourself. Or the knees come in towards your left shoulder and then over to the right. So if you need a prop in between the knees or anywhere, you could grab it. And then once your legs are where they need to be, we're going to rotate the arm. So the right arm, there's a few different paths you could take. You could simply float the arm into the air, reaching through the fingers, roll over onto your left side, fetal position, reach the right arm past the left, and then go back the way you came. Another option is reaching the arm overhead. Maybe the fingers drag on the floor the whole time. That depends on how your shoulder's feeling today. Another option is you could slide the right arm past the heart, past the left arm, just kind of like follow the path of the heart and arm, and then go back the way you came. So find a path that suits you. Those are the 3 I can think of. But maybe your shoulder can think of another one. So feel through it. Right? Make sure you have space too. I realize in the yoga studio, I always make sure we have space before we do this. And I don't really have that much space here. So hopefully you have enough space for this. And the next time your arms are wide and you're ready to just land in your twist for a few breaths, just land there. So both shoulders should be pretty flat against the ground. You can turn your head to the right as the knees go left and deepen the breath. And let the mind return to the body, right? The support system. We can learn a lot about ourselves by just turning our attention towards the body, but the messages are subtle. So we just have to practice listening, that's all. And when you feel ready, take your feet and just walk them to the center of your yoga mat. Let the knees come up and square your hips. Good. And once you're there, just like we did before, you could push into your feet and let your hips start to sway side to side again. And let them go all the way, or comfortably to the left, a little left of center. And the knees go to the right. Either they just flop over or they come in towards the shoulder and then over. So this is similar, it's the same as the other side, but it might be different, right? The shoulder might be different. So find a path as you roll all the way to one side and then all the way back into your twist, right? So keep breathing, find a path that works. See if you can, just accept if this side is different, if this shoulder needs a different path. Or maybe you found you did too much on the first side and you just want to respect this joint a little bit more, this shoulder a little more than you did on the first side, right? We learn the hard way sometimes. We're human. So when you're ready to land in your twist, just land there. Your head can look left, your knees can go right. And take a few slow, deep breaths, just letting your mind be the witness. And whenever you're ready, you can slide your feet back to the center of your yoga mat. Let your knees come up and square your hips. And from here, if you've got a prop, you can release it, but bring your knees in towards the chest, hands on the knees or arms wrapped around them, and start to rock side to side. So just saying hello to your back body, giving it a little massage. We're going to get into the movements of the spine, but we're going to do just a couple more things from here. All right, so you can find stillness, let your feet come to the ground. And bring your arms palms face down. We'll do a little core stuff. We'll start off real gentle though, don't worry. Palms face down, arms along the sides of your body, maybe tuck the shoulder blades under a little bit. I like the sidelines of my arms tucked under the sidelines of my body. Some people like the hands under the sacrum. So, do what you need. Knees or ankles right underneath knees. And basically just notice for now, I can't speak for anybody else's experience, but I know for me right now, my back is, resting on the ground, but the lumbar spine isn't totally touching the yoga mat, right? There's a little, just that curve, just a little bit is lifted away from the yoga mat. So basically we're just going to breathe and move the belly muscles to kind of fix that for a moment. So take a breath in, feel the belly just rise up. And as you exhale, engage your belly muscles, hug the belly into the spine as you kind of press the lumbar into the yoga mat. And then inhale, you just relax. The belly lifts, the back sways just a little bit. And then exhale, engage your belly, push your back or belly down into the back into the floor. So I'll just do that a few more times, just releasing as you inhale, engaging as you exhale. See if you can just let the belly do the work. Inhale, release. For example, next time you do that, see if you can relax your jaw and your shoulders. And anything else that can relax. Good. And the next time you're hugging the belly into the spine and spine into the floor, just pause and keep breathing. Just notice what that's like. See if you can use more belly muscles than back muscles. right? More belly than shoulders. I just caught my shoulders get intense. Good. And then gently release. You can walk your feet a little wider apart than they were and let your knees go side to side, arms where you want them. So you can have hands on belly or arms outstretched. Just, it won't really work if your arms are tucked like they were, or it won't work as well. It's just a release, just a feel good move. If it doesn't feel good, choose something else to do. Good. Let's come back to center. We'll do one more before we come up. So often I teach this in the super easy way. I'm gonna do it different because you guys have done this with me before. So instead of grading it up, starting with the super easy and then working up, let's start middle. And you can make it easier if you need to. So not the hardest, not the easiest, right in the middle. So basically that belly move you just did, that's going to exist once we're in it. So for now, just bring your knees in. Let your, oh, sorry, I forgot the arms. Everything's the same as before. Arms tucked under a little bit, palms face down, shoulder blades tucked a little bit. So bring your knees in. Let your legs be in the shape of 90-degree angles. And I'm doing it if you need to see it. And then just like you did before, take a breath in. And then exhale, hug the belly into the spine. And just hold it. Not too much that you can't breathe. You want to make sure you can breathe. And maybe this is enough. Maybe this is all you need. Or keep your legs sort of fixed in that shape and slowly dip one leg down towards the yoga mat. Keep your belly strong. And then that leg comes back up, all the way up, and then switch sides. So keep kind of pressing your belly down into the spine and spine down into the yoga mat. Keep using your belly more than your back. And if you do start to fatigue, if you do get tired, that's when the back will take over. So take a break or come out of it. And you can always change this up, right? I said the easier version would be, I didn't actually, but you could be heels towards your butt. And that way you have a shorter distance to go. If you're in the middle range and need to be harder, let's see, one way to do it would be to lengthen the leg that you float down and up. Another way to do it, I don't know if that's too much for me. You could do both legs at the same time, but I think that's too hard. So, but don't, you might be different than me. So keep breathing. You want to make sure that you can keep the structural integrity safe in your back. All right. And my back and belly muscles just told me that's plenty. Thank you. So when that happens for you, release. Bring the knees in. You could rock side to side, or you could do the one we did before. Feet wide, knees bent, knees drift left and right. And just so you know, I said earlier before I hit the record that I've been doing core strength so much that my belly's been a little sore. My core muscles have been sore. And that's all I've been doing. Just those. There's a couple more things I do, but just those. I do a few rounds, but for the sake of, doing our yoga practice, we'll do a few. We'll leave that for now. But, on your own, those might be good ones to do. All right. So when you're ready, just roll over to one side. So you're in a fetal position and just rest. And then using your hands and arms, push yourself up sideways to seated. And come on up. It took us a while, but we made it eventually. Upright. Oh, it did take us a while. Got to get us moving here. Oops. I always talk about a Carrie yoga class. And to be honest, I'm not exactly sure what it's like on your end, but I can tell you that maybe one guess would be that you never know how long you're going to be on the ground. All right, let's do cat and cow. I'll stop teasing myself, making fun of myself. You can do cat and cow from sitting, right? Knees bent, legs crossed, knees out, whatever. Or lately I've been trying to use my wrists more and in safe ways. So if your wrists or knees are up for it, you can do table. So let's leave that option out there today. So once you're ready, sitting or in table, as you inhale, the back arches, right? So if you're in table, the belly sways, right? Heart opens, shoulders go back, and then as you exhale, the back rounds. So doing that in whatever direction makes the most sense for you. I think all of us present are all doing it in table. So yeah, just noticing. Exhaling, tucking the tailbone, tucking the chin. Inhaling to arch, but let your mind really go through all the details in your spine, because your back will tell you where it's more tight, where it's more open. Good. And if your knees and hips will allow for it, you can come into child's pose, big toes together, knees wide, and you just fold in child's pose. Or if that's not okay, be in a seated position and just fold your body over the legs that way. So upright or folded, either way. Just rest. Take a breath in. Let's see, are we all on table? No. And as you exhale, move back into table. And if your wrists are up for it, you can come into a little upward facing dog. Just be real nice to those wrists. And then as you come back to table, we're going to come up to standing, but you decide. Do you need down dog on the way? Do you want to just come on up? You decide what you need. I feel like I've sort of taken downward facing dog out of my practice so much, but I don't want to like deprive people of their favorite yoga form if they like it. So if you need downward facing dog on the way, into it. Take a few breaths. If you don't, maybe come up into a standing forward fold and we'll hang there for a moment. That way we all get the upside down version of things. And then eventually you can start to make your way up to standing. Oh my goodness, I'm tangled. You'd think I'd be used to this headset thing by now. Okay. So find your way up to standing. Most of you already know what I'm going to do. I can see that it's happening. Let's do standing swinging twist. Good idea, Joan. So bring your feet wide apart. Lift the heel you face away from as you swing your arms, or as some Kripalu teachers just call this, empty coat sleeves. So we'll do empty coat sleeves. And breathe, right? I like to bend my knees just to protect, my joints. Good. And then very gradually come back to center. You can bring your feet a little closer and find your mountain. So feet hip distance, toes spread wide, feet like just completely connected to the yoga mat if you can. So the arches, we can get the arches to lift. Then stand up nice and tall and proud, right? Belly strong. We just strengthen the core a bit. Lift your heart. We're going to do a few more heart openers in a moment. And then start to take your shoulders. Let your shoulders start to circle up, back, and down. And I know I always try to do it without the arms and hands, but start to include the arms and hands when it starts to feel like the things are a little more warmed up. So I always say it's like a rowboat. And I laugh every time I say it because my oars get so long, right? So have like the longest oars on your rowboat and make a really big circle if that feels okay, if that feels safe. Woo, all my shoulders are making clicks and cracks. All right, so eventually release. And let your head just drift over to one side and just like tip for a moment. We're just going to tip the head for a moment and breathe. Relax your jaw. Good. And then bring your head back up and go the other way. Use slow, deep breaths. Good. You can bring your hands, bring your head back up and find your mountain. Palms face forward. Belly strong, heart is lifted, feet pressed down, crown of the head lifts up. And as you inhale, flow your arms out and up, get just nice and tall. Own the ground you walk on, get nice and tall. And then exhale, float your arms down. Still owning the ground that you walk on, right? So inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, float the arms down. Good. Next time the arms come up, bring your palms together. And as you exhale, bring your hands down towards your heart. Start to work your elbows and forearms together. Good. And then from here, let your fingers reach up a little bit. Palms or forearms and elbows stay together and then down. And not everybody's elbows are going to come together. So just towards each other. So inhale, lift up. Exhale, reach down. Good. Next time you inhale, let your arms go straight up. And as you exhale, bring your hands behind you, either hands to the low back. And actually, let's do it that way. Hands to the low back, elbows bent, and just squeeze your elbows and shoulder blades together. Lift your heart. Inhale. And as you exhale, release your arms to your sides. Inhale, float your arms up. Same thing as before. Bring your palms together. And exhale, bend at the elbows. Bring your forearms together right in front of your heart. Good. And keep them together. Inhale, reach fingers up, elbows up. Exhale, sink elbows down. So inhale, one more to lift up. One more to sink down as you exhale. Good. And then release your arms to the side. I think it's a different pattern than we did before, but that's okay. We're going to do it different every time. Inhale, reach your arms up. Get nice and tall. And this time, exhale, bring your hands behind you. You could just reach back, shoulder blades together, or you could interlace your fingers, yoga mudra arms. So bend your elbows, squeeze your shoulder blades, then lengthen the arms and breathe. Just opening the heart. Take another breath in. And as you exhale, you can bend your knees if you want. Start to hinge at your hips. Standing yoga mudra. Let your head dangle. Just notice. Make this work for you. And then very gently and slowly use your legs. Come all the way back up to standing, like someone could pick you up by your handle. And then release your arms. And just take a moment, notice how you feel. All right, good. Let me check the time. All right. So come up towards the front of your yoga mat. I can't see your feet, so I don't know where you're at. So just make sure you have a space behind you and it's clear of blocks and obstacles. So find your mountain. Right, sort of just like notice the structural support system that you're in, right? We started our meditation like that, noticing the supportive nature of your body. You want to go see Sean? Sorry, Millie needs to go say hi to Sean. It's very important. Sorry. And when you're ready, on an inhale, reach your arms up, get nice and tall. And as you exhale, keep your arms up there, bend your knees, step your left foot back into a lunge. Take another breath in. And as you exhale, bring your hands to your hips or just down to your sides, either way. So we're going to play with this a little bit. If you need more balance, bring your feet wider apart, right and left. So as you inhale, just lengthen rather the front leg and lift your back heel. Your ball, your foot stays on the ground. And then bend your knee. So inhale to lift in the front leg, lift the back heel, and then exhale to come back down. If you'd like, you can float your arms up. Maybe you move with the breath. Maybe you just keep them up there. Every time I do this, I do it a little different. So I never quite exactly know how to teach it because I just do what feels good. So I invite you to do the same. Just do what feels good. And then eventually hang out in your high lunge or warrior one rather. Right, so bring your arms up if they aren't already. Once you land there, bend at your elbows. Hug your belly into your spine. Kind of remind yourself of what it was like when you're on the ground, like hugging the belly in. And then press your elbows and shoulders back. So you want to keep the back supported, just like it was against the ground. You're going to press your elbows back, open your heart, and breathe. Now keep that opening in your heart, keep that strength belly, and then float the arms up. Opening the heart. Good. You can start to release. Bring your hands to your front leg, hinge forward a touch, step the right foot forward. And let's do a little standing forward fold. So just hang heavy. Bend your knees on an inhale, roll your way back up, one bone at a time. Breathe your way back to it. And then inhale, reach your arms up. Keep them up. Exhale, bend your knees, step your right foot back. Lunge or warrior one. Good. You can keep your arms up, or you can bring them down. You decide. We're going to do that lift and lower. So inhale, straighten the front leg, lift the back heel. Exhale, sink back into your lunge. Inhale, lift. It's a little tippy. Exhale, lower. Hard to do this and talk. Good. Next time you lift up, if it feels safe, bring the arms up. And then exhale, sink down and just pause. Bend at the elbows, but remember to engage your core, just like we were when you were lying down before, pushing the back into the floor. And then gently press your arms back. Feel the shoulder blades squeeze together. Open your heart. And if it suits you, float your arms back up. Can you keep the heart open? Keep breathing. And whenever you're ready, float your hands down, hinge forward, and step forward. Good. And actually, before we do a standing forward fold, maybe yoga mudra arms once again. So squeeze your shoulder blades together, lengthen your arms, and then fold forward. And take a few slow, deep breaths, just noticing where you're at. Right? We started our practice with a request to ourselves, right? A request to yourself. Can I just accept where I'm at? And as if you could be picked up by your handle, start to slowly rise up. Release your hands. If you feel lightheaded, stamp your feet. Then bring one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. Maybe eyes closed or open. It's up to you. Just take a moment. Notice how you feel. If you feel lightheaded, keep your eyes open for sure. Noticing what your body, what this body that you're in, what it's up to, how it feels. What it's like to honor the breath, the heartbeat, the muscles, the bones, the whole thing. As you can release your hands. We're going to make our way down to belly down. But just like before, if you need something on the way, downward facing dog is your jam. Come on into it. If it isn't, and something else is, find your way into that. but eventually we will meet belly down. And when you get there, as always, I always start with a rest. So when you get there, turn your head to one side, but please don't cut your downward facing dog short or anything short because I'm still talking. Take your time. And when you get there, you can turn your head to one side, you can bend your knees, let your feet go side to side if that feels safe on the back. And turn your head the other way. And then from here, bring your, let's see, let's come up into forearm. We'll do forearms first. So we'll do Sphinx. So elbows underneath shoulders, fingers spread wide. The yoga mat I'm on is so thin for my bony elbows, but see how long it'll last here. All right. So from here, kind of like what we did before when we were lying down, hug the belly into the spine, right? Protect the low back. I like to keep the knees bent for this, probably because I'm on a really thin yoga mat. So keep the knees bent. I like to also imagine that I'm pulling the knees in towards the elbows. It helps me engage the belly. So take a breath and then start to draw your hips up into a knee down forearm plank. I like to pull the knees towards the elbows. Like I said, it helps me engage and then slowly lower down. So I like to come in and out of it. I hold for a few seconds and then I lower. Another option, you can kind of come up with your own pattern if you want, is you can play with, I can't talk and do this. You can bring the knees up or knees down. It's up to you. I like to kind of go back and forth between the two. And just remind yourself, this is worth it. Strengthening the core. Take it from me. It helps, it really helped my low back pain this week. And whenever you're done, you can release. Turn your head to one side, bend the knees, let the legs sway side to side. Good. And then you can release your legs, bring your chin or forehead to the ground, and bring your arms along the sides of your body. I'm going to run into my couch here. Go out to your side. My hand's like, I don't know, 6 inches away from my body. And then from here, it's kind of just like we were doing before. I know we keep talking about it, but if you curl your toes under and kind of press your pelvis into the ground, hug your belly into your spine, you're doing that same thing. We're just going in the opposite direction. So you're kind of pulling your belly up towards the sky, flattening out the yoga mat or the spine as if you were flattening it into the yoga mat. And then uncurl your toes. Lengthen back through the toes, lengthen forward through the top of your head, back through all the fingers. Inhale. And as you exhale, keep your belly strong, lengthen through everything, and start to lift. Right? So it's not about bending and lifting up. It's about lengthening and then lifting up because you can't lengthen anymore. So keep breathing. Open the heart. Use your belly. Stay here as long as your body is like into it, right? Sometimes that little bit of like work feels good. So notice what you need. And whenever you're done, come on out. Turn your head the opposite way you did before. Bend your knees and let your feet go side to side. Good. And then from here, you can release your legs and roll over onto your side. into a fetal position. Just notice how you feel. And then from here, we're not going to be up for very long. And when we do come up, we're just kind of going to fold right down. But start to walk yourself up to seated. I promise we won't do anything strenuous. We're almost ready to relax here. But I want to do almost pigeon, or what I call almost pigeon. So if you bring your hands behind you, because we warmed up the hips, but we didn't do a hip stretch yet. So bring your feet wide apart, knees bent, and let the knees go side to side just a few times. I'm on the squeaky part of my floor. There's like one squeaky spot, and I'm right on it. Good. And then let your knees go over to the right. And just get comfortable for a moment. We're going to do that slow progression and get towards pigeon. You can do full pigeon if you want. But it's kind of nice sometimes just to twist here, right? Just kind of sit up nice and tall and twist. And breathe. You could also lower yourself down from this twisted position, or some people like to undo a little bit and go over the right knee. So kind of decide what your back and what your hip needs today as you lower down. Maybe you lower onto your forearms or a prop, a pillow or 2 or 5. Or maybe you're one of those people who just folds right down like an origami crane. It's all good. Whatever works. Good. And if you want a little bit more like what I call almost pigeon, you would kind of line your torso up over the right knee and swing your left leg back, maybe a little bit or a lot. I like the balls of the feet to be on the ground, the heel to go up. And then I'm in what I feel like kind of like a fall into the side pigeon. We usually do pigeon with hips square, but it's really intense on the knees. This, I feel like you still get the stretch from the hip, but it's not so intense on the joints. If you'd like full pigeon, go into full pigeon or resting pigeon, not like, king pigeon or anything. So keep breathing. Whenever you feel ready, you can start to release. So if you're in full pigeon, kind of sink over to your right hip. Those of us who are already there, just bend your back knee, and we can all do that. And come up to where you started. So hands behind you, knees bent, let's go decide. Good. And then let your knees go the other way. And we'll kind of start that progression, right? Starting with the spine straight, just come into a gentle twist to your left. And you can stay nice and tall. You can walk your hands away from you. Using any props that you need. I forgot to move my props over. You can stay here if you want what I call almost pigeon. Kind of line up over your left knee and send your right leg back. Right, send the knee kind of towards the ground. Heel can lift up. That's just one version. You can do like a lot of different versions of this. And breathe. Full pigeon if you want it. You would just kind of readjust the leg a little bit, square your hips, and then fold over. I have one hip that'll do it, one hip that won't. But, remember how we started this practice. Accepting ourselves exactly the way we are. So deepen the breath. Let your mind just witness. Can you see yourself? Right? There's a core, we all have a core human need to be seen. And it feels really good when another human kind of sees us. We could also do that for ourselves. We can practice like being seen. It's one thing to see it, but also to receive it. So just allow yourself to, see and be seen. If you're in full pigeon, you can start to kind of shift over to your left hip, kind of tip over to the left a little bit. The right knee bends. I think we're all probably in that, or probably caught up. Once we're caught up, then the hands can go behind you and let the knees go side to side a few times. Good. And then from here, whenever you're ready, you can find your way onto your back. And just like we did before, when you get there, you can bring your knees in and gently rock from side to side. Good. And you can pause. You can bring your feet to the floor. And you can do this in a modified way, or we're going to do bridge. You can do this, one more heart opener. You could do this with a block or a blanket or pillow. Just slide it underneath your hips. So you're a little elevated, scoot your shoulder blades underneath. The other option is doing it without. Right? Tuck your shoulder blades under, tuck your arms under, take a breath. Ankles under knees, and then lift. Hips up towards the sky, heart up towards the chin. Tuck your shoulder blades in. So whichever version you're doing is totally fine. Maybe you try one and you go, you know what? I want to do the other one. And then you switch. Right? Just accepting yourself where you're at. Right? Maybe there's indecision in there. That's okay too. So keep breathing. If you're in bridge with a block, you could always do modified shoulder stand if you want. This is your practice, right? It's why I make so many options, not to annoy and confuse, but to support, to give you permission to, do what you need. Whenever you feel ready to release, you can slowly, carefully come on down. Bring your back to the ground. Remove the block if you've got it. Just notice how you feel. So that's like all the moving forms that I'm going to, yoga forms that I'm going to move us through. So take a moment, just listen to the body. Notice notice where you're at. Notice if there's anything else that you need, another stretch, another move, another strengthening. Maybe you revisit that core, some core strengthening, like really whatever you need. Take a minute or 2 or 3 to finish your practice, however you need. All right. So if you haven't already gotten yourself set up for relaxation, you can start fixing to get ready to do that. Just make sure that you're comfortable, right? Make sure you're warm enough. We always do about 10 minutes of relaxation. So just make sure you are supported, right? We talked about support systems, or I did several times already. Build your support system. Maybe that's a pillow underneath your knees. Um, whatever it is, right? Build your support system. A yoga mat, a blanket, a bolster, pillow, feet up over a ottoman, whatever works. And once you get there, once you're start to settle in, just let your mind acknowledge where you're at. Turn your attention to the breath and start to slow it down. Let your mind move through your whole body, just giving yourself recognition. Allowing yourself to be seen, to see and be seen. Right? Continuing allowing the mind to just focus on yourself, giving yourself a hello, fill in the blank, right? Mine would be hello, Carrie. I care about you. If you can do that today, or maybe an I love you, right? So whatever you need to kind of tell yourself and then give yourself permission to relax. Eventually the body can just breathe itself as you practice the art of relaxation. Practice the art of just being here. It's all you need to be. It's here. So if you feel ready to come back to the present moment, to this Tuesday, you can start to move fingers and toes. You can deepen your breath. You can start to stretch or yawn or move however you need to. And just, take your time, right? If you're still lying down, it might feel good to bring the knees in, give yourself a big hug. You can roll over to one side and eventually find your way up to seated. If you're not ready, it's totally fine. Millie's ready. She's up, all up in my space. But when you come up to seated, just take a moment. Notice how you feel. We're going to finish our practice the same way we started, but not with 3 ohms or arm movements, just 1. So if you feel comfortable with it, you can bring your hands. Millie, can you just give me a minute in front of your heart? You can join us or join me, or you can just listen. So take a breath in. We'll inhale together. Om Shanti Shanti, peace, peace, eternal peace. You can bow your head to your heart, honoring your true self, your true light. Jai Bhagwan, victory to the divine light that resides within me. Namaste, may that divine light within me recognize and honor the divine light within you. Thank you so much for coming, right? Thank yourself. We can thank each other. Thank you, thank you. If it wasn't for you guys, there'd be no class. So you guys made the class just as much as I did. Let me stop the recording. Hold on. How do I do that?
The 3 J's.
The 3
Yeah. Triple J.